one that didn't go to Relay for Life.
Good. Okay, so we
got it covered.
I know.
In fact, I got this. Check this out. Yes, in fact, she made me worry. She was poor guy. One day I didn't sell anything for life. I have her card, and she gives you a card that tells you this is 1920s silverware. And then I got these. I got this set. Yeah. She has one stuff too.
I just want to read it to see it because of the
I'm telling you.
I'd like to call our Tuesday, April 16th meeting to order. Our invocation and pledge will be read by our city attorney. I ask that you please rise.
Heavenly Father, we come humbly before you in a time of a national tragedy. The deaths and terrible injuries suffered in Boston from the cowardly acts of terrorists burden our hearts with sorrow, a sorrow shared throughout the country. We pray that you will comfort the families of those injured or killed and welcome those who have died into your heavenly kingdom. We are hopeful that those who committed these heinous acts will be brought to justice and that your grace and love will be with those who have suffered and with those present here tonight who share in their pain and loss. This we pray.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Once again, welcome. And I echo our city attorney's invocation. It's a terrible, terrible thing that happened up in Boston. You kind of find yourself glued to the TV a little bit, just hoping that they find somebody and catch somebody. The story of the little boy just touches you if you have kids. You know, the dad's out there, loses his son, his daughter loses her leg, his wife, you know, has pretty major brain trauma. So any given day. So be thankful every day that we're around. Our first order of business is our Citizens Open Forum, where we let you come up to the podium and speak about something as long as it's not on the agenda. A couple rules: don't speak to anything on the agenda. Give your name and address when you get to the podium, and please no more than 5 minutes. With that said, anybody on this side? Judah?
Suda Yanis Cologne, 402 Arlington Avenue East, Oldsmar. I want to come in and thank the city and Lynn Reeves and Brittany and the staff for a wonderful Art in the Park this past Saturday. It was a nice turnout. The rain held off for us. The wind stayed down. I spoke to many of the vendors who thoroughly enjoyed it. Mayor Beavis, I know you were able to be there, and anyone else that was able to come by. We had a great group. Everybody, a number of them I talked to have been there for 3 and 4 years. I look forward to coming back. And we had some new folks. We're hoping that one of the consensus is that we can grow in the food vendor area. We ended up with no food this year, so we were all a bit hungry. So we'll hope we'll grow in those areas. And the performances are great. Everybody says they love it. They'd like to see more. I know, for example, we brought some people from Tampa to see the performers who ended up dropping a couple $100 with the art vendors. So we want to encourage that type of thing as well. And of course, we're always working on getting the word out, so anything we can do there. But we loved it. I want to thank you for continuing this vision to bring art to the community.
It was good. I talked to a couple of the vendors, and they were really happy with it. The weather was great. I watched you do a little dancing with your husband. So, anybody on this side? Awesome. Thank you so much. It's a great opportunity to get to speak to us, but we like when you don't have anything negative to say. Our first item is on the consent docket. There are 4 items. Approve the minutes of the February 5th, 2013 City Council meeting. Approve payment to legal counsel. Authorize the city manager to contract for sanitary sewer lining on the Pasco County Contract. Approve the purchase of replacement playground equipment for Sheffield Park on the Manatee County bid. Does anybody wish to pull anything? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. City of Oldsmar, our first item is the presentation of the council manager award, and our city manager is going to do that.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm very pleased this evening to present the award to one of our local businesses, BLAC, and Patty Holland, I think, is here this evening. Well, we're moving at a fast clip, as you can tell. So you probably, I think we'll be done about 9 or 9:30. Would that work for you?
There somewhere.
Yes. Here, you go ahead and take the award. Patty is the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer with BLAC, and the company is probably not exactly a household name. And I'll give you an opportunity to tell a little bit about the company also. But they are involved in the aviation industry, local manufacturer. They have clients around the world in a number of different countries. But the couple of things, more than a couple, but in particular, we wanted to recognize the company this evening for your contributions to the city of Oldsmar and the community here. And for a number of years, the company's been involved in, as a sponsor for leisure services activities, the golf tournament, which the annual golf tournament is coming up in May, and Celebrate Oldsmar and other things, and also supporting fire rescue, in particular the backpack program each school year, and Toys for Tots. And there's a number of other things, but we're just happy that this evening we can recognize the company for the contributions that y'all make to make Oldsmar a better place. And why don't you take a minute or so and tell folks a little bit about what y'all do.
We make turbine blades for jet engines. So if you can picture the engine that hangs off the wing and the blades that are inside spinning around, we actually make those. And we sell to American Airlines, Delta Airlines, airlines all over the world, as you said. Asia is our fastest growing region of the world right now. More than 50% of our business goes over there. We're actually a joint venture. Our largest shareholder is a company by the name of Chromalloy, who actually has a big plant over in Tampa. And then airlines actually own us too. United Airlines is one of our owners, as well as Lufthansa Airlines, which is a German airline. So kind of neat to have right here in the city of Oldsmar. And we have about 60 employees right now, and we do the manufacturing right down in a building on Commerce Boulevard. Okay.
So we're glad to have you in the community. Appreciate you coming this evening, and we're happy to give you some recognition for those things that you do to support us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, what she does is pretty important.
Yes, really. Mm-hmm. Proud to have them here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Thank you.
Give me something to talk about when I sit on a plane now.
I know.
The next item.
Do I have the next?
Yep, the next item is
Okay.
the presentation of the April 2013 Service Awards. And Mr. Haddock is going to do that as well.
We're going to go by seniority this evening. And the first service award is presented to Chief Dean O'Neill. I'm sure that we should invite Michelle to come up here too, don't you think? So he wouldn't be here without you, Michelle. So here, you take that envelope.
That's hers. No, that's hers.
No, you take it, Michelle.
Service Award is in recognition for 20 years of service to the city of Oldsmar, presented to Dean O'Neill, 1993 to 2013. So you go ahead and take that. And that's 2 decades right here in the city of Oldsmar. And as I mentioned, Dean is currently Fire and EMS Chief, and he's been in his current position for a little over a year. And he's worked in fire rescue as a paramedic, and that was, I think, your first job with us, wasn't it?
It was.
And So he's come up through the ranks in Oldsmar Fire Rescue, served as lieutenant and captain, and as I said, I've been the chief now for a little over a year. And there aren't too many other stories, I guess, that I can really tell.
Is there something? Keeping secrets?
Well, I'll just share a little bit more that one of the jobs in Oldsmar, there's a lot of waterfront to cover. I don't mean that literally, but many people have other things that you might not think about. But the chief also is our emergency management director, and officially in the incident command structure, he's the chief of the planning section. And he's been involved in emergency management in different capacities over a number of years and had training. But when he was promoted to chief, that was a new assignment. And for better or worse, we had some real actual events last year. So it was another case of on-the-job training. And we get better when we do have those events, but I'd prefer myself just to have training exercises from now on. So if you can just leave it to training exercises this year, I'd really appreciate if you could do that.
I'd like that to happen.
Okay. So anyway, I'm happy that we can recognize you here on your 20th anniversary and just let you know we appreciate, those 2 decades of service so far to the city of Oldsmar and still going. So happy anniversary and congratulations.
Thank you. I always tell this story, but honestly, I did not plan on staying in Oldsmar. I was trying to get on the fire department Clearwater. Thought 6 months, I'm gone. And as many of you know, once you show up in Oldsmar, they've treated us very well. I decided before I was off probation I was staying. And 20 years goes by pretty quick, seen a lot of cool things happen here, a lot of growth, and it was not something I did by myself. I got a fantastic staff. The real chief is Pat. She keeps me out of trouble and stuff. And men and women who 24 hours a day, 365, show up at your house when you call for help. This last year especially, I have a lot of new responsibilities I've never had before, and the support we've had from our staff and the department heads and everybody in the city has been wonderful. But on top of all those folks, I can't say anything that you probably don't already know. I wouldn't be standing here without the support if it wasn't for my wife, Michelle, putting up with a lot of training and being gone for weeks at a time to do things. And I think she liked me being gone every third day when I was on shift. So that was cool. She's glad I'm home now because she's got a full-time cook. So thank you very much. 20 years, got some more to go. Thank you.
Bruce, when you all have your picture taken, you say you ran out of things to say. I got one.
Shock. That's a shock.
That should be a nice one.
Renee can attest to this.
Uh-oh.
Y'all need council members. If you haven't, you need to spend a 24-hour day job with them one time. You remember that? Let me tell you something. That was an experience, especially the one with the leopard.
I'd stop right there. No, I think I want to hear this.
Yeah. I heard about it for the next month, but that is an experience.
Tell us.
Ask Dean. Ask Renee. But to spend a 24-hour period on the call was exciting, and it was a great adventure and an education. And one other thing about this that you two have said, it says a lot for you. It says a lot for the fire department. It says a lot for the city. He came up through the ranks.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
The second award this evening is presented to Ben Pugh. Did you want everyone else to come, or you're going to be here too? Okay. Oh, okay. You brought your own photographer tonight. That's even more special. So, yeah. Why don't you introduce who came with you this evening?
This is my daughter Melina, my son Garrett, and my wife Terry, my dad and my mom hiding back there. So.
Great. We'll get them in the next picture. We can do that. This service award is in recognition for 15 years of service to the city of Oldsmar, which were presented to Benjamin Pugh, 1998 to 2013. And I noticed they spelled out your name on that, so that makes it even more official, I guess. Ben works in utilities and distribution and collection, and has responsibility for maintaining a lot of the infrastructure, both in the water distribution system and the wastewater collection system. And as I mentioned, he's worked for the city of Oldsmar for 15 years. And I don't remember the other jobs you had. I mean, you've worked in utilities and water all the time, haven't you?
I was in wastewater for about a year and then went back to water. So, but now it's all the same department. So
yeah, doing both.
Yep.
Yeah. I can't remember if y'all were here 5 years ago or not when your dad was here. Do you remember that?
I don't know.
I think it was, but anyhow, I'm happy that this evening we can just take a few minutes to recognize you on this important milestone, 15 years, and let you know that we appreciate the work you do and keeping the city of Oldsmar going. It's like, a lot of things we do. It takes people who work 7 days a week to keep the city operating properly, and we appreciate that, and we're happy that we can recognize you on your 15th anniversary. Congratulations. You want your mom and dad in the picture, don't you?
And she held that right.
Okay, number 3 for this evening, Jane Lingle. Now, you know this, it says Elizabeth J. Lingle. That would still be good for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's legal.
Okay.
Not what everybody calls me.
On the plaque, it says Jane Lingle, Service Award in recognition for 15 years of service to the city of Oldsmar, 1998 to 2013. You go ahead and take that. And who came with you tonight?
This is my father.
And you were here 5 years ago, because I remember that, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Glad you came back tonight, too. So Jane works in the library. She's the technical services librarian, and she's worked for us for 15 years, as I stated earlier, and perhaps has some more visibility. And some people might wonder, though, what does the technical services librarian do? So they oversee what are a lot of the operations, and really, of course, the library is much more than books, and there's quite a diversification of materials within the libraries, such as DVDs and other materials, in addition to books. But there's a lot of other ways to access things online. But still, a big part of the work is a lot of pieces of material, I'll put it that way, things that are still, you can hold in your hands. Every day, a lot of them come in and a lot of them go out. And somebody's got to, oversee that operation and purchase new materials and put them in the collection and all those things. So those are just a few of the things that Jane oversees. So I know you could tell them a lot more about what you do, but we're on a limited time frame this evening. The other thing I did want to mention, when we started out, I said that I was going by seniority. And you notice Ben got his 15-year award tonight, and you're getting yours. But I think he actually, he started in March, February or March? Uh-huh. And you were?
April.
Yeah, that's why he got ahead of you tonight, just by a little bit.
That's okay.
Yeah. But anyhow, I'm happy that we can recognize your 15-year anniversary tonight, let you know we appreciate the service that you provide to the community, and just offer our congratulations. Your turn.
Oh, thank you.
As sweet as she can be.
Congratulations to everybody. It's always a great testament to see people in Oldsmar. We say this every time, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. That's part of what makes Oldsmar such a great city, so congratulations. Our next item is the presentation of the Homer Brunson Ward Schrecengost Governmental Award. I will be doing that, and while I do that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Beaverland to tell us all what that's about.
This award was started in 1990, and it's the name of it is the Homer Brunson and the Ward Schrecengost. Homer Brunson was on council for 14 years, and he was mayor for 1 year. Ward Schrecengost was mayor for 16 years, and I had the honor in 1970 and 71 of sitting between the two of them, which was an experience you'll never understand because they didn't like each other. But between the two of them, for all those years in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, they were the two main golden threads through all those years for the city of Oldsmar. And so this award, their name, is for a worker for the city that is chosen by their peers for their excellence in work, in their dedication to the city of Oldsmar.
Thank you. That's great. And it is, as you say, a great award because it's nominated by your fellow employees. They pick somebody that they like. And you can see by the years of service that we have, 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. There's a lot of people that like being in the city of Oldsmar, and I think it's because of the family atmosphere that we build, because it's tough to nominate somebody for this because there are probably so many people that deserve it. But this quarter, I want to ask John and Carrie to come up if you could, please. Let me not get the checks messed up. As we say, it is a great award. I think Bruce might be able to tell a little bit why we're doing two this year, or this quarter. They both have been working on a project, correct?
Yes. And you want me to elaborate a little bit more? Or are you going to
a little bit. Yeah, if you could.
Okay. So Carrie and John both work in the facilities division, and they have recently completed the renovation and remodeling of a building that the city owns on St. Petersburg Drive. I think it's 504 St. Petersburg Drive. And that space, and that is available for rent now. And we saved a lot of money through their work and efforts and doing it in-house. And it turned out fine. It was somewhat challenging. It wasn't I'm trying to think of a way to describe what it was when they started. And
a mess?
Let's just say it was a little challenging. It presented certain challenges which they overcame. And that's primarily why they were nominated for the award.
And I think it's that, but I think it's also, that's just one example of what happens in the city. When the city has a need and we ask people to step forward, it doesn't seem like we have any shortage of people that want to step forward and help, whether it's help save money or make the city a better place, or now we have a facility that we can do something with. So I think that's just one of the examples of why this award is given to people. So I would like to read it. It's the Homer Brunson Ward Schrecengost Government Award, presented to Carrie and John. You both get your own, you don't have to share. For your outstanding service, dedication, and leadership to the City of Oldsmar 2013 first quarter. You gonna speak? Who's the spokesman?
I'll speak on behalf of John and I. This project was pretty challenging at times. I think we had fun doing it. I'd like to thank my director, Lynn Reeves, for giving us the opportunity to work on this building. Well, we challenge, but we had fun working on this building. We enjoyed it. We actually finished it up yesterday.
Wow.
And I'd like to thank
the plaques this morning.
I'd like to thank our supervisor, Steve Coppola. He helped immensely on this project and saw the project through to the end, and he's a great asset to the city. And we both love and work here. I haven't got my 10 years in yet, but the comment was made, once you're here, you don't want to leave. So I'm going to stick it out for the duration, and I think John is too. And we both really appreciate this award.
Mayor, if you've never worked on a mansard roof, you will understand what they went through.
Very tough. You bring a roofer, I will take your word for it. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. The next item we have is a proclamation. It is the presentation of the proclamation for Public Works, and I will go ahead and read it. National Public Works Week, whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday life, and whereas the support of an outstanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewer, streets, highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection, and whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform, and now, therefore, I, Doug Beavis, Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19 to 25, 2013 as National Public Works Week in the City of Oldsmar, and call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with these issues involved in providing our public works, and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, and comfort and quality of life. Dated this day, the 16th of April, 2013. I give this to Lisa. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Well, thank you.
I don't think a lot of people realize all of the stuff that Public Works does, and I don't really have 3 hours to tell you about it, but if you're interested, I'd recommend next year you sign up for Citizens Academy.
Oh, good girl.
Yeah, we do. We end up covering 2 nights for Public Works because we do cover so many different topics, and it would take a long time to explain it here and now. So thank you very much. It's a very important service, I think, and it protects the health and safety of our residents, making sure that we have a good, solid Public Works department.
And I do think it is a great public works department. And, you know, as we've said when we go to the Florida League of Cities and we brag about our O plant, now we get to go brag that it's actually up and running. And
LEED certified.
And LEED certified, yeah. You really don't appreciate some of the services that we do until you don't have them one day. And I think we all know what we're talking about, but it's very important, and they've got a great staff and work very hard to provide all those services. So congratulations.
And Mr. Mayor, they are doing, the staff, Lisa and her staff are doing a wonderful job in the Citizens Academy. Everybody was like, ooh, and an on, you know, in the classes.
I got to say, from when I took Citizens Academy 2, it's like doubled in size with the things that they provide. I could have spent a whole day when we toured the RO plant itself, so it's great, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do a real good job.
All right, and that's all I have. City Attorney. Oh, I missed one, sorry. Presentation on the pedestrian safety, and that is Lisa Supernand from the outreach special. She's an outreach specialist with USF with the WalkWise, and we're going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you for having me. I've had the opportunity to present to Janice twice already, so this will be her third time hearing this. And so I have presented in Oldsmar a couple times to AARP, the Oldsmar Women's Club, and have been over to Oldsmar Cares Food Pantry. So it's an honor to be here tonight. I feel like I have a big act to follow after all of these awards, but I'll try to get my point across. I think this is important and educational. My name is Lisa, and I work for USF. And our funding for this particular program comes from the Florida Department of Transportation. So what we do is we go around, I work in Pinellas County only, and we go and give presentations about safety all over Pinellas County to adults. So I'm going to give you kind of a quickened version of our normal presentation so you can see a little bit about what we speak about. I'm going to start my clock here so that I don't take too much of your time. So Florida consistently leads the nation in pedestrian and bicycle fatalities per capita. So we don't want to dwell on this per se, but in this picture you can see, this is pretty typical of what we see around here. There's someone in the middle of the road when they don't have the right of way. They're still in the middle of the road passing between cars. So there we go. And so over the past 5 years, there have been a combined 3,044 pedestrian and bicycle fatalities in the state. And actually that number's even a little bit outdated now, as we're getting some new numbers in.
Just point it towards the day.
Okay, they told me to point it back that way, so I don't know. Should I try it? Okay. So I apologize for that. So we have national recognition for this. So part of what we're trying to do is, as the cities, the counties, the state are working on the infrastructure, we're trying to educate. So this was a USA Today article in 2010, and unfortunately it has not changed very much. So our 2011 crash statistics, you can see we had about 500 pedestrian fatalities in the state and 120 cyclists. Pinellas County is a bit higher than most other counties in the state. And then as for our injuries, I feel like this number, I mean, the fatalities are, of course, really awful, but I feel like this number is almost more powerful. We had over 6,000 pedestrian injuries, and these are only the ones that are reported. That means these people either called the police or they went to the hospital. Many people I talked to spent 3 to 6 months in the hospital after their injury. I was down in St. Pete today, and 3 different people came up to me and said that they had been hit by a vehicle, some of them actually, unfortunately, in St. Pete, city vehicles. So, I know. One guy said a garbage truck. However, he did admit to having a couple drinks, so we'll go with that. But cyclists, as you can see, is also very high, 4,600. So that's why we're here to talk about what we can do to change things, make it a little different. Apologize, trying to figure that out. So one of the things we talk about is pedestrian laws, and we're going to go through this pretty quickly. So we do have state laws. We do have to use sidewalks when they're available. The law actually says when applicable. That means if there's a car in your way, you can go around it. Walking against traffic. So we have a lot of busy roads, particularly in Oldsmar. Most of them have sidewalks, thankfully. But when there is no sidewalk, we are to walk against traffic. It's safer. So if you can see the car coming, you can get out of the way if the car is driving erratically. That is a Florida statute, and so this is just an example. If there's no sidewalk there, if you are on a highway, you just turn and walk against the traffic. So use crosswalks, and that's kind of a complicated law, so I've put a little demonstration up here for you. But I put this up because a lot of people ask me about it. The true definition of jaywalking is what we call it. The law calls it crossing mid-block. So I thought this was rather interesting. So by state law, if there's two intersections and they have signals at them, so stoplights, traffic lights, and you cross in between them, you have broken the law. But if there's one signal on one side of you and none on the other, or none on either side, you have not broken the law. So I want you to keep that in mind later because I have some pictures of Oldsmar and I'm going to ask you about that again. Isn't that exciting?
Interesting.
So if there's no crosswalks, pedestrians must yield to vehicles. So this is actually not here in Pinellas County, but I see this all the time when I'm out driving around. We see pedestrians in the middle of the road crossing right beside of cars. In this case, it's even a little scarier that they have a child with them. But you know, as I'm out even in Oldsmar, I live in Safety Harbor, and I'm all over the county. People are crossing Tampa Road like this, not going to the crosswalks. And then a few bicycle tips here, that bicycles are legal vehicles. So bicycles, if they're on the road, they have to be following the traffic, going the same direction. Not all bicycles are doing that, but they should be. Oops, did I go one for? Yeah, I got it. Sorry about that. But bicycles can ride on sidewalks. And I saw this a lot on your main roads in Oldsmar when I was driving around. You have a lot of people riding up and down the sidewalks on Tampa Road. They're being used a lot, which is a good thing, because really on Tampa Road, I don't know about you, but I don't want to ride my bike on the street there. But they do have to do two things. They must yield to pedestrians and make an audible warning when passing. And we always joke about this because if you're on your bicycle and you're on the sidewalk and you say passing on your left, the first thing the pedestrian does is jump to their left.
Yeah.
True. But anyway, it is by law. You have to make an audible sound and yield to pedestrians.
And not just go ooga ooga and scare them to death, right?
Exactly, the same thing. And particularly because, you know, probably where we need the widest sidewalks are where people are commuting, and those are really where we have the narrow sidewalks, and we're not going to really change that. But people are going back and forth on those sidewalks, and the bicycles are using them a lot. So I do have a couple of pictures from Oldsmar, just to make it a little bit more interesting for you. They're all good. I took this picture. I mean, you guys know where this is, 580 and Forest Lakes, and I just thought this was great. You have a lot of great pedestrian signage around the city. The next one is a video. Hopefully it'll play. Hopefully the sound's on. We'll see what happens. So I'm just taking this to show you how your pedestrians are interacting with traffic. I stood there for quite a long time. I think I was there at the wrong time of day. In this video, she's actually talking on the phone, the girl who's crossing the road, and you can see traffic's crossing behind her. She does have the right-of-way here, and so this is my homegrown video here, and you're about to see some cars turning right behind her there. So everything worked out okay there. And as we talked about our organization, most of the time, cars yield to pedestrians, and most of the time, pedestrians do the right thing. But as we see, the pedestrian was obviously distracted, and thank goodness none of the cars were distracted, because that's when we have an issue. So there's another pedestrian sign. I saw these all over town. I love it. And then I was just going to have this little clip in front of the Oldsmar Library. Now he is crossing mid-block, and so my question to you now that you've been educated, counsel, is this legal?
Legal.
Absolutely, it's legal. So he can cross mid-block here, that's no problem, but he must yield to vehicles. So that's a great thing. So he could go down to the crosswalk or to the corner there, but he doesn't have to. And it's obviously not a busy area. But it's interesting to know because people think if a police officer is standing there, I might be breaking the law. I might get in trouble here. And really, that's perfectly legal. And it's good for you guys because the parking's right across the street there, so that's nice.
Lisa, is the theory there that it's safer because the cars have to slow down to go to the stop sign?
You mean if they're crossing the block?
If there's stop signs, but illegal if there's two lights.
You know, I'm not going to presume to know what the legislatures. I'm sorry. That's it's actually and I won't even go. So some studies actually say that crosswalks are safer, and some studies actually show that maybe they're not safer, and that hasn't really been proven one way or the other. But they do show that when pedestrians are crossing mid-block, they're often more aware of what cars are doing. So they do show that. So I'm not sure, but I just I can't answer that question. It's just state law.
I think she made a good point.
That was wisdom.
Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, it's logical.
It is logical.
So can I ask a question just for clarity? Because
yes.
I worked out on Clearwater Beach, right on Mandalay, and we stand out there and watch these knuckleheads all the time doing this stuff. And so if it's a traffic, I know if it's two traffic lights, no. If it's a traffic light and a stop sign, yes. if it's 2 stop signs, yes?
Right, you can cross mid-block.
Okay.
So the law essentially says to make it really simple, if you're standing at mid-block and you can look left and you can look right and you can see 2 traffic signals and a crosswalk, you better walk to it. If you can look left and look right and at least one side or more doesn't have a traffic signal with a crosswalk, go ahead, but you just have to yield to cars. Now, some states you have to yield to pedestrians all the time, but in the state of Florida, our pedestrians have to yield to vehicles if they're crossing mid-block.
Well, because on the beach, and you're familiar with that, I'm sure they have a lot of the stupid ones right there after the roundabout, but...
I didn't bring my roundabout video, Janice.
But it's the one that's right there. It's a crosswalk right after you come out of the roundabout, and you're making people stop and jamming people up in there, but... They have dedicated one where you have to stop, but it looks like then, from what you're saying, that they're not jaywalking by walking in between those designated ones because they're in between stop signs, it appears.
That's right. I mean, technically by law, they're not. And so unless Clearwater Beach has some kind of ordinance that's forcing you to go to the crosswalks, which I'm not aware of, obviously it's still the safest place to cross, particularly there. They've done a great job with their signalized pedestrian crossings. Right. I actually have a video that Janice has seen of people crossing through the center of that roundabout and not even really yielding to traffic. Just, it was a father and 2 sons, and they were crossing from the playground over to the surf shop, like a complete diagonal over there. And I can't believe I actually saw it and got part of it on video, but we see this all the time. And Gulf Boulevard happens to be one of our busiest areas and one of them that have a lot of crash incidents. And I don't know if you've seen further south of you, there's the yellow flags that you can wave to cross the street. That's actually partly our program. So if you look at them, they say WalkWise on them. You can use them for safety. But they are slowly changing those over to signalized pedestrian crosswalks.
And are the ones like, for instance, in Dunedin along, what is that, Bayshore there, where they now, I assume they're smart signals because maybe when somebody's there, they start strobe light flashing, but it doesn't do that when somebody's not there, I don't think.
You have to push a button.
That's interesting. I haven't.
I thought it seemed like I didn't think they hit a button. I thought they.
Well, some of them, you hit the button there, okay? Because I know there's some that you can. I didn't know that we had them in Pinellas County, but some places have them where when you cross over a sensor.
That's what I thought it might.
Yeah, that it goes on.
Is it? Yeah, you know, right there by
it's right
Eddie's and all that, by the pier and by the pier, by the park. Okay.
But interesting that you say that. Even the signalized crosswalks, what we're finding is happening is that one person will push the button, go through the crosswalk, they're almost all the way through, the next person approaches, the lights are still flashing, and they don't push the button again. So halfway across, the lights stop flashing for them.
Yeah.
So a tip to everyone, if you're using those, push the button again. It seems redundant, it never hurts. You see those people pushing. It's better to do that, honestly, than to not push at all. So.
Wait, you'll never have to worry about the city of Oldsmar with a roundabout.
Good.
One other thing, she used wisdom a few minutes ago when she says she never presumed what a politician will ever do.
We just state the laws, we don't make the laws, right?
Another quick question. The 2 numbers that you mentioned for pedestrians, 6,100 and 500, is that, do you break them down between, as you said, the guy that admitted to having a few drinks with, I mean, how many of those are actually pedestrian related versus vehicle related? Because I have to think that a lot of these probably are pedestrian, like the people pushing the stroller across.
Right. So actually it's about 50-50.
Okay.
As far as people drinking, I have a slide coming up on it, but it's about 32% of pedestrian fatalities had been drinking. So that's the pedestrian themselves. Okay. I don't think that includes the driver, but oftentimes it's not an issue of the driver drinking when a pedestrian gets hit.
Okay.
So
I heard that the bicyclists were higher. I heard that was about 70.
That it was what I'm saying?
That the percentage of bicycle accidents, the people riding the bike, 70% of them were
that was
under,
their fault.
Yeah, that they were drinking.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't have the bicycle statistic for drinking, so
yeah,
it's interesting.
It was like 70%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. And it's funny because when I'm out talking to people, a lot of people think, well, I'm safer if I'm walking and after I've had a few drinks. And I'm not sure that they're safer, but perhaps other people are safer.
And that was in St. Pete, so maybe we're a little bit more sober here in Oldsmar.
There you go. There you go. So primarily what we give safety tips. So although we have some bad news, we're trying to get people to react to those things and do the right thing. So one of them was wear bright colors to increase visibility. And I always say this seems really obvious. You see people who are commuting wearing all black, but we do this all the time. You know, I live in Safety Harbor. We leave our house. In the wintertime, it's 5:30. We go over to Green Springs and Nantucket Bucket. We come out. Guess what? It's dark. You know, and I don't really think about it sometimes when I'm leaving my house that I'm wearing all dark colored clothing. So I do ask people to think about this, because if you're wearing all dark clothing, even in a small town, people can't see you. Be alert, never text or talk on your phone while crossing a road. We just saw someone doing that in Oldsmar. Happens everywhere. This picture is actually on the USF campus. Look left, right, and left again and make eye contact with drivers. Again, it seems very obvious, but one of our biggest issues is right-hand turns. And this would probably be the case. I couldn't catch one on any of the 580 or Tampa Road area, but I'm sure it happens there, as I saw a lot of pedestrians crossing. But if you think about if you're driving and you have a green light and you want to make a right-hand turn, do you have the right-of-way? Kind of. Over another car, you have the right-of-way, but there's typically a crosswalk there, and a lot of times we forget. Now, if you have a red light, you can make a right-hand turn on red, but which way are you looking? You're looking to the left to see which cars are coming, and there could be pedestrians crossing there. So those are some of our biggest accident areas. And in this case, this car actually kept going and almost ran over this lady's toes. That's on Elmerton there. Let's see. Know your surroundings. Use extra caution when crossing multiple lane, higher speed streets. I was actually over at Golair Village in Oldsmar, and they were talking about their crossing there across from Bell's, how they have some issues over there. That's a kind of a bigger crossing. And some of them need maybe more time. Watch for cars in parking lots. Pedestrians have the right of way, but people are getting hit in parking lots. Drivers can't always see. So there's our drinking. 32% of fatalities have been drinking. Stay on sidewalks when available and be cautious of cars entering or exiting driveways. Now, regardless of it's jaywalking or not, you know, I always laugh because how many of us are guilty if it's something like the library, but maybe in a busier area, and we've parked on one side of the street, our destination's immediately across. There's a crosswalk 10 feet away. I mean, how many of us go to the crosswalk?
Oh, I always do.
Yeah, you do.
And again, sometimes it's not against the law, but often it is still the safer place to cross. And then expect the unexpected. Walk defensively. You never know when a car will fail to yield. So again, this is kind of an abbreviated version. We do usually use kind of an audience response system and get a little bit more involvement from the audience. But I do think it's important, again, we're going all over the county talking about it. There's a lot of things when people are clicking in and answering in our audience response that they actually don't know about being safe when they're out walking and cycling. So I thank you so much for listening to me tonight. And I think Oldsmar is a great place to be. You do have a lot of pedestrians on some of those higher speed streets, and hopefully they will be safe as well. I see that the kids are being taken care of over there on 580 and Forest Lakes Road, so that's wonderful. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
I was going to ask you where the clickers were, but you just answered that.
Yeah.
The fun part.
I know. I was kind of encouraged that maybe this isn't a good time to do it. So, but certainly have me back at a less informal meeting, and we'll use the clickers.
I do have a kind of, I guess, a quick question is, do you just go through and kind of educate people, or is this something that, like let's just use Oldsmar because I like the place, that you might look at certain intersections and make recommendations or tell us what we might be able to do better, or how does that work?
I personally don't do that. So what we try to do is we do the education piece, right, and we leave that up to the engineers and the other people that work on the infrastructure part of that. I do report feedback. So when I hear feedback from the community, then I try to let people know, or I refer them. When I was over at Golair Villages, right, you know, someone said, oh, well, if we need, you know, they were really concerned about their situation. They have very tiny sidewalks. They have very small roads. I was driving around there. They have bikes riding in the middle of the street. They don't move for your car. There's lots of things going on over there. And they say, who do we talk to? And I said, well, you can always go talk to your city council. And of course, I recommended Janice because I knew her. And but, you know, and I'm realistic with them. You know, that, you know, everything can't be fixed. Sure. But it is something that if they have concerns, I try to recommend that they come talk.
It's like anything. If we don't know that the problem exists, we can't really fix it. So I think that's great. I mean, is that something that Lisa would get the feedback on, or that we might be able to?
The problem at Golair Village is going to have to be solved at Golair Village.
Right. Well, but the street, the public street out there. Anyway, that was kind of my question, is what do we do to make it better?
Yeah, you know, I think that it's a joint, and it looks like you have a lot of the infrastructure, so I think it's just getting the word out to people to be a little bit safer and having them understand some of the safety measures. I mean, again, the girl crossing the road, she crossed perfectly fine. She probably made it to her destination. That's great. she probably could have looked around a little bit more because there were obviously a lot of cars passing around her, and hopefully nothing ever happens there. But
oh yeah,
taking the time to let people know that there are, and people who have been hit. Again, every time I go somewhere, someone tells me they've been hit, and they know that it's very serious.
I was hit by a car 50 miles an hour when I was 5 years old in front of my house. So
and you survived. That's good.
What happened?
I landed on my head, so that explains.
I was waiting for somebody to say that, Janice.
Yeah.
All kinds of children's tips too that I went over with some of the other clubs, and I mean, children are really interesting, and they're a whole different ball game.
When about 40, I think I was walking across the on the playground, and she hit me. So.
Oh well.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is our city attorney.
And I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
Next, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item, authorize the city attorney to prepare land use and zoning ordinances for recently annexed West Oldsmar properties. We do this about twice a year, rather than do each one at a time. And so if the council authorizes the ordinances, then they would be back for first reading, I believe, at the next meeting. There's 4 properties in this would be covered by these ordinances. The land use remains the same. It's residential urban. The zoning is currently under Pinellas County, R4, 1, 2, and 3 family residential. Under the city, it would be R3 residential 2 and 3 family district. So we've done a number of these before, and tonight I'm asking that you authorize the city attorney to prepare the appropriate ordinances.
I think this is great. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Mayor and council, item 11, authorize the city attorney to prepare an ordinance annexing 3137 Huron Avenue. This is a voluntary annexation located in West Oldsmar. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond to those. I recommend you authorize the city attorney to prepare an annexation ordinance. This is a voluntary annexation at the request of the property owner.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
I said this the other day that it seems like we do about 2 a meeting, but it seems like we're picking up the pace a little bit. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Mayor and council, item 12, consider adoption of resolution 2013-09 supporting the current tax exempt status of municipal bonds. We had some discussion about this topic at the last meeting. This request, I believe, came through the Florida League of Cities. So I'll read the resolution by title only. This is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, urging the administration and Congress of the United States to preserve the current tax-exempt status of municipal bonds and reject any proposal that would reduce or eliminate the federal tax exemption on interest earned from tax-exempt municipal bonds. That's the reading of Resolution 2013-09 by title only. I recommend its adoption.
So do we have any questions on Resolution 2013-09?
Yeah, I do have one question.
Okay.
Are we going to send this to Gus Bilirakis?
Certainly can.
I think it would be, since it's COVID, we're asking Congress to do something, I think we should send it to our congressman, don't you?
Actually, it's going to the Florida members of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
I think we should send it to our congressman, too.
Okay. Need a motion to approve Resolution 2013-09?
So moved.
Need a second?
A second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes 5-0. Anything else?
That's it for me. Thank you.
City Clerk.
Well, I just want to thank everybody. It was a lot of people that came together for the city's team for Relief for Life, and I think we made a lot of difference out there. All sorts of departments in the community and just came together, and thank you.
I'd just like to add that, I was going to do this in comments, but while you're doing it, the necklace thing, I've shared that with several people, and I think that was really a neat idea to do that and walk, and it was kind of neat, and I mentioned it to you when I walked. I think I walked for 2 and 4, but what was neat about it was, I know I walked on your 4. What did you have? 4? Whatever. We all kind of participated.
I think I had them all.
But the neat part was as cancer doesn't know who it's attacking, we really didn't know who we were walking for. So it was more about the cause and the cure and why we're doing, instead of getting all caught up in the actual person, because the cancer doesn't know guy, girl, young, old. And
Right.
so it was really neat, and I've kind of shared that with some other people, and the weather held out, thank goodness, so did a good job. Anything else?
That's all.
Thank you. City Council. This item 13, discuss the internet cafes, which I don't know, it's a non-issue. The governor has approved that, so we'll just move on to that. Our next item is council comments, and we'll start with Councilmember Norris.
I wanted to say that I was very sorry to miss Relay for Life. I ended up, unfortunately, having to work, but I did make the Art in the Park, and it was wonderful. It really was. And I went around and talked to all the vendors, and most of them were very happy about the turnout of people that came. Some of them did express that we maybe could market it better or whatever, but I had a great time. I got this, and I got these, and I got a bunch of good stuff, or a bunch of it. But it was
can't help but get stuff, right?
But it was really nice, so I really appreciated that, and I am definitely sorry I missed Relay for Life. I heard it was wonderful. And somebody explained the necklace thing, because I didn't know what the necklace thing was.
I'll do it in a minute.
Okay, because Ann told me about it, but I think it would be nice to tell everybody about it, because I thought it was kind of funny that Jerry was wearing a necklace tonight.
I will explain
But it's a wonderful, wonderful idea.
It's a rainbow necklace.
Anything else?
The rainbow necklace. Actually on that theme, I'm actually attending Equality Florida, a gala on Saturday. It's their biggest event that they have every year, and it's at the Salvador Dali Museum, and I'll be there representing Oldsmar. I'm looking forward to that. And other than that, just pray for all the families of the people that were killed and injured, because you just never know. It reminds me that I have to actually treat every single day as if it might be my last, because it's not Afghanistan. It's not soldiers that are going over and could possibly, give their life for their country, or it's an everyday family event that people got killed at. So if we just treat every day like it's our last, we might be able to have some perspective. So that's it.
Councilmember McGee.
I wanted to comment about Relay for Life. I think Ann and Kathy deserve a medal. I was there until about 2:30 in the morning with my 10-year-old niece, Kayla, and she was a trooper. I walked about 8 miles, and I think she probably walked about 4 or 5.
Oh, wow.
We wore the necklaces, and we kept adding them. We had a great time, and all the baskets that Kathy made were a huge hit. There was one woman that stayed until about 1:30 in the morning just waiting for the next raffle to see if she would win, and my niece pulled her name. And so on the first draw, it was wonderful. And after I left at 2:30, Ann stayed all morning too. So yeah, she was definitely a trooper, because I know I was tired when I left. I also wanted to wish Dave McKenzie the best, since his last day is May 3rd. And also just wanted to say, in regards to Boston, I'm a runner myself. I've never run a full marathon. I ran my first half marathon in Savannah. So, it touches you personally. And my parents have run the Peachtree Road Race on the 4th of July on Independence Day, in downtown Atlanta for like 34 years in a row, and they'll be running it again this July. So it puts those things into perspective, and you think, my mother was just horrified, especially because, she's done it for 34 years, and you think it's a safe family event.
Yes.
And that those things could happen. So just sending prayers and love to everyone that was affected, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Miller.
Oh, well, it appears that it's time for us to have new business cards.
Okay. Well, some of us need them.
So, yeah.
Some of us don't have them.
Yes, right. And
I will donate mine to her, and she can just put her name on it.
Okay. I don't really need one for vice mayor. I'm only going to be vice mayor for a year.
For vice mayor, just put your name on it. Save us some money.
No, that's why I say I don't really, just council member is fine with me. But the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people, when we go to these conferences and stuff, have their pictures on their cards. That way, when you're going through your cards, Oh, yeah, that's who that is.
Oh, that's that crazy woman.
Yeah, right. And I think we should have our
I was
pictures.
talking about Gabby, not you.
I think we should have our pictures on our cards. What do you guys think?
I don't want mine on the card.
Oh, why?
So I think it's a good picture.
Oh, neither do I.
So then you shouldn't be on one either.
But the thing is, they can use the pictures we already have. What do y'all think?
I have an opinion.
I don't have any cards right now, so I'd be happy with
I
without photo.
kind of had this discussion with Ann, and I like the idea, although I don't want it to. My thought is it could be a two-sided card where maybe you have, and Ann and I talk, because I do real estate, and you know how that is. I don't want it to be a calling card for us, but I like the idea that it might do that, because I get a lot of cards, you see a lot of people, and it would help you. I was at the mayor's lunch, and I still have a hard time knowing who they are, but I really think our cards on the front should be the professional city cards that we have. But if on the back, and I talked with Ann, and she had some great ideas that maybe it has a picture and really more about the city, some of the city facts, founded in da-da-da-da, and just some informational things about the city. So it's not so much of a,
just a business card.
Yeah, I don't want us to look like car salesmen and realtors, but I kind of like the idea.
The council group photo.
Yeah,
Doesn't that cost more though?
I have no idea. I don't.
Well, yeah, if you're printing on both sides of a card, it'll cost
But I don't.
more.
But I don't know how. If
Maybe Jim will make them for us.
It doesn't cost that much.
I can't. But if it serves a purpose, because I do agree. I get a lot of cards, and I sometimes have to write notes. Guy with crazy mustache. Or
yeah, I do too.
And so
that's why I thought it was.
Pray for name tags when you go to events.
But still, when you're home and you need to.
I just don't want them. I don't think they belong on the front, but if they could be on the back so that they don't come across. That was.
I don't care where they are. It's just I think it's a good idea to do it because I know I have a lot of cards from all over the state and I can't remember what they look like. And then the next time you see them at a conference, it's hi Janice.
Yeah.
You better hope you have their card on you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but if you see it enough,
Janice, once they meet you, they'll never forget.
But anyway, what do y'all think? Should we
You got my
let Ann just take the ball and run with it and do whatever she wants to do with it?
Thoughts?
I don't care. Just keep mine.
I'm fine with them the way they are, but if it was pictures, I would rather have them on the back
I think
than the front.
Janice makes a good point, but I do like the idea of putting more facts on it because when I was a mortgage broker, it just felt so egotistical to have your picture on it.
I know that. I know.
And then it's and then you got the weirdos that,
Everything is about the city of Oldsmar.
Well, that's what
It's not about us.
Yes. But if there's facts with it, then I think that it's good.
9 square miles, blah, 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 parks,
Yeah.
Founded by.
Yes.
I think it's just people don't even know that,
Yeah.
It's hard to remember everybody's name. I just,
City manager,
darling.
You corrected me. Correct him.
We're 10 square miles now.
Oh, that's right.
All the annexations.
Why, we rounding up now? Because of
It's all those lots.
all those lots and the track, huh? 10. We're
Yeah, I'm so used to saying
Corrected
9.
me in public.
Yeah, I'm
What
so
do you
used
think
to
this
saying
is?
9.
Well, I had him correct you in public.
We're double digits now, huh?
But
Gabby, what did you say? I didn't hear what you said.
I said 10.
No.
Picture, no picture.
Anyway, can I finish?
I didn't hear what she said about your picture thing. So
Oh.
what did you say?
I'm fine with I'm fine with or without picture.
I don't care.
I just kind of think it's a good idea because when I look at other people's cards and I see their picture, I say, oh, yeah, that's who that is.
Okay.
And then you try to make, especially when you're going to be going to these conferences or to even like the RPC meetings and stuff, you can't remember all those people.
And they might have shaved that goofy mustache.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
yeah, and you don't have to write notes on the darn thing. But anyway, that you never look at again.
As long as it doesn't drive the cost up tremendously.
Well, yeah, but as I said, I don't need a vice mayor card.
No, because then it can be used all over again.
We don't want you to have one.
No, I don't need one. I mean, that's an expense we don't need because that is just a short-term thing. So then is it a consensus then that Ann would...
Yes, Janice. It's a consensus.
That Ann would just have free reign?
Well, as long as the costs don't go skyrocket.
Well,
Well,
it's in her budget.
Not to belabor the point, I don't think the money is going to be that big of an issue.
Yeah.
So just to clarify that the front of the card will be uniform as it is now. The reverse side of the card, if you want, it will have your picture and it will have some factual information about the city of Oldsmar. And also, it's not mandatory. If all 5 of you don't want your picture, you don't have to have your picture.
Then you'll just have the facts.
So did I summarize that okay?
So no consensus needed.
I go to so many things, so I think that I would want my picture on.
I actually have one more question. I'm constantly writing my cell phone number on my card. Is it a bad idea to put your cell phone number on it?
Not if you don't care. If anybody has it, I have my home phone number on
I
mine.
write it on mine.
I always have to write it because it's got the city number, and of course they're not going to get a hold of me there.
Oh, and another thing, our email has changed. It's no more ci dot, it's myoldsmar.com. So our
good point.
Our emails are out of date.
Why don't each one of us just tell Ann what we want on our cards?
Good idea.
Good idea.
I don't want mine to say Jim Roniker anymore.
Is that what that is? How funny. Okay, anyway, and the next thing, I did mention it to Bruce earlier, and this is, and she's gone. This was really for Marie. The awnings at the Galleria on the St. Pete side are just in tatters.
Oh.
Hanging.
That's not from,
and
that's for code enforcement. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said Marie's already gone. So anyway, I'm sure Bruce will make a note of it and tell her. Mm-hmm. So other than that, I still have company from Chicago, and they're spending a couple of weeks in Sarasota right now, but they come back and forth, and I'm really enjoying that. I'm busy though. I think that's about it.
You want to reserve that thought?
No.
Remember, last time you gave her twice.
No, I didn't. I jumped. I skipped. I did skip her. I skipped her.
Wait,
finished.
He skipped me last time.
Yeah.
Beaverland.
My time. The Boston is a tragedy. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Keep those people in your mind. It's yes. That's about all we can do here. I know you like to run. I have a friend. I emailed y'all that he is an attorney and he runs 4 to 5 miles every morning. I don't know how he does it, but he's been doing it for years. He runs the New York Marathon. He runs the Boston Marathon. He runs the London Marathon. He runs the Paris Marathon. He runs all the big ones. I talked to him Sunday at church, and this was one of the first times he didn't go to Boston.
Oh my heavens! So, gee whiz!
But it's such a tragedy that
yes, it is.
That just.
I know. I just hope they catch the.
And the Arts in the Park has always been well attended and by clientele and clients. I mean, it really is. My son was going to set up this time, but he had to go to Minnesota because he had a big contest up there on his fish carvings.
Oh!
Out of 72 people, he came in 5th.
Nice. Oh, how wonderful!
The kid is incredible. Takes after his grandmother. The beads. The first 2 or 3 years that I was mayor, we started this in the city, or they started in the city when I was mayor. Not because I was mayor, but I just happened to be mayor at the time. And the first walk, Bruce, it was almost $120,000. We collected more money than almost any other marathon in Pinellas County. It was incredible. That's the night I had to sing at 3 o'clock in the morning and forgot the words to God Bless America. If it hadn't been for that.
Retired.
No, I just forgot the words.
Oh.
And then the second year, I think it was when they shaved my head. And then the third year, now this year, I didn't get to attend. I haven't told a whole lot of people. Some of you council members know. that I wear this because it was made and given to me. This year, about 5 weeks ago, I contracted cancer. I had cancer in my esophagus, 3 inches above my stomach, and it was caused by acid reflux. I've never smoked in my life, and I've never drank in my life. It was caused by acid reflux.
Stuff's nasty.
And my doctor, I've been going to Moffitt for the last 3 months, and I think it was 3 weeks ago, they went down and took and removed the cancer from my esophagus. I still have to go to treatments. If you have acid reflux, people out there, pay attention to it. Dr. Faya told me I had to go. And another reason, I had a reaction last week after the council meeting. I spent 7 hours in ER at Meese Countryside. I contracted either from stress or something that happened up there, which I had never heard of before, arthritic, gout in my right foot. And if you've never had it, you never want it. I could not walk. In fact, the first day I came out was for the work session because I wasn't supposed to be on my feet a lot, so I didn't make it down anywhere. That was horrible.
Yes,
but
it is.
I have to go back for treatment starting next 3 weeks. But the cancer, I was given this, and I guess they made these for people as they walked. Am I right?
Every lap you got to beat.
Every lap.
Every four of them equal a mile.
And so nobody knows. I don't know who made this.
A lot of people.
And I don't. And I'm sure they didn't make it for one particular person, but I'm proud to wear it.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Thank you all.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you all for who you are.
What do I get? Thank you. I was honored to walk for those that I walked for, and that's what I say. It's neat because you really don't know. I said at the opening ceremony when I was there at Relay for Life that, while we're here and throughout the duration of this or over the weekend, that, somebody probably is going to get a phone call, an email, or a text that somebody they know, an aunt and uncle, a sister, a brother, a relative, a neighbor is going to get the text that, they've gotten cancer. And it seems to happen every year. So it was a great event, and Kathy and Ann did a great job.
The money that goes to these places is incredible. I mean, over at Moffitt,
But speaking on that,
that is an incredible place over there.
Mm-hmm.
I failed to mention, they wanted me to mention this from Relay for Life, that we raised $56,000 for the city of Oldsmar.
Nice. 56.
56,000.
Nice.
And the goal is 65,000. And you can continue to donate until May 31st. They have an event this Friday at Simply Art Studios, which is new right there in the City Fish Plaza, where the proceeds will go towards Relay for Life. And Tracy Earhart has all that information. And then Wednesday, April 24th, Tijuana Flats is going to give 10% back of their proceeds from 5 to 9 p.m.
Good.
Let me make, I haven't given up yet, so I'm not getting 2 chances.
You already said thank you for who you are. So that's the end.
You're through.
I have a suggestion for next year.
You should be on the
I will
committee.
be as much part of this as I possibly can. Maybe a month before the walk, as a council, which would make a huge impact, I think, on Pinellas County or any other walks, that this council, either in pairs or the council itself, maybe a month or 2 months before the walk, begin to visit the Children's Hospital or another cancer victims. We go there, we give them something, that this council cares about what's happening to them, and do it in the public eye so everybody will see what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would bring a greater spotlight, not only on our cancer walk, on the whole cancer walks.
It might. It
So,
might.
I think that would be something that would be very, very good that we personally.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, you see it all the time with athletes and what they do, and I mean, I think we all embrace it.
My beautiful wife spent over a year in the Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, Indiana, fighting for her life. And the story she could tell you about the kids in the iron lungs and the kids that had cancer and how they took them out there at night covered up. I mean, it's...
I don't know how we
Oh,
coordinate.
that's morbid, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, cancer is awful. In fact, I had colon cancer in '92. They caught it very early because
they caught mine early. So I
because
think
I
this-
do go to the doctor.
This would make a great statement, I think.
I don't know how we coordinate it, but I like the idea. I think it's a great idea. Ann's making notes, so.
Yeah, and it's very important that people go to the doctor. I mean, even if you're just not feeling
Well, let me tell you something.
right, go find out what's the matter.
I go every 6 months. I've been doing it for years because of my
Acid reflux.
my esophagus, because it's Barrett's at times. And then one day, Dr. Peoples calls me up said, okay, we've done your biopsies. I need to talk to you Monday morning.
And you knew.
Well, you know what it says.
Mm-hmm.
Bob's come back, you got cancer.
And it isn't just cancer of the esophagus, it's Barrett's
It's
syndrome.
Barrett's, yeah, Barrett's. But anyway, I thought that would be a good idea, and I still say, thank you for who y'all are.
He did that twice.
I echo the comments about Boston. I watched the story today, and you kind of just find yourself glued to it a little bit. I look at Ben when he was standing there with his wife and 2 kids, and I think,
Just cried.
could just as easily have happened, anywhere. I looked at when I was going through pictures in our parade, there I'm with my 2 grandkids, and you think you're in a safe area and you're not always safe. Be aware of your surroundings. You can't live your life in fear. But I heard the question today on one of the news stations, and it said, is it going to matter if it was a domestic attack or if it was a foreign attack? And the attack is the attack. It doesn't change the outcome, but
Right.
I don't know. Is it more scary if it's our own people killing our own people is a little scary to me.
It really, yeah.
And, without any value on life, I always have problems with that lack of value on life.
Especially children.
A couple other notes. I'm excited. A friend of mine has bought a new plane, and so he asked me if I would like to fly all over Oldsmar tomorrow, and I said as long as I can bring my camera. So if you see a low flying plane and me hanging out the window, I don't know.
Don't shoot it down.
Don't shoot.
I asked him if we could buzz City Hall, so I don't even know what kind of plane it is, but that'll be neat. Interesting to see it from
fun.
to see it from the sky.
I've done that with old Oldsmar and taking photos of
So.
all the parks and all. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Neat. So I'm only taking my phone, so I don't know. I'll try and take some video. So I'm excited about that. For those that are interested, the ribbon cutting is tomorrow on our 5th hotel at the Hampton Inn. So
What
if you can,
5 to 9, but what time is the ribbon
5
cutting?
o'clock is the official ribbon, and it's the ribbon into the banquet hall, which then has their. What's the event that's going on? What is that?
The Chamber of Commerce, like 5
Oh, the
chambers.
trade show.
It's the trade show.
Yeah.
The trade show and the mixer, and so we're cutting the ribbon onto that.
At 5.
Cutting the ribbon at 5. So, and if you got the flyer on the Salt Rock Grill opening yesterday, I went by yesterday and today, and it hasn't opened yet, but I'm excited about just yet another great restaurant in the city of Oldsmar. And
Where's that one?
the old Rumba. I mean, the old melting pot.
Now, what was melting pot?
Yeah,
What
it's
was
just-
the hot tuna sign? Is there going to be another restaurant too?
It's already open. What's it called? Who mentioned it to me, the tuna one, and somebody said it might be related to Frank Chevis as well, but I'm not sure.
Okay, because I was like, oh, a
It's
third
because it's
restaurant?
part of it, or it's kind of sort of connected.
Okay,
but
I
don't
wasn't
know.
sure if it was part of Salt Rock, because we hadn't heard anything about that one.
No, it's.
Okay.
I don't know if they're related, but knowing Frank, he built these 2 restaurants there so they could consolidate staff and manage and be more efficient and things like that. But it did not look like it was open tonight, so I went by. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything else? And I'm going to make this suggestion. I know we get up here a lot and we only talk to the council. I don't mind if Bruce or Tom or Ann or Kathy have something, because a lot of the things that we say are council related and they're about things that need to change, but we also talk about things that are personal to us, whether we're supporting a cause. And I don't know if Tom's involved in something or Bruce is involved in something. I think, it's not just us, it's the council, so if anybody, if that's okay with everybody, if somebody has something, I don't mind adding everybody to it. And, you know, Tom and Bruce just sit here and everybody, you know, I mean, you have your city clerk moment, but I mean, it's, but if that's okay with everybody, I mean, they may have things that they want to share or brag about a kid or do something like that. So it's not just us, it's the council. So having said that, I need a motion to approve the next agenda.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed. Passes 5-0. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.